With the Portland Trailblazers currently being the 12th seed, they're not the worst team in the league, but they're also not a playoff team. So this leads me to think, what are they going to do with Anfernee Simons? What is up, y'all, and welcome back to another video. And before we get into the video, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe. It helps me a lot. I'm trying to grow my channel. I know I say this every single time, but it really does help me a lot. So do those things, and now let's get into it. So with Anfernee Simons being 25 years old, I feel like he doesn't really necessarily fit the plans for the Portland Trailblazers to try to, full-on rebuild and kind of build with their young core. And I also feel like, you might as well just give Scoot Henderson a chance. You took him 3rd overall last year, so I feel like if you just give him full minutes, not having him play on the bench, it could help the Portland Trailblazers a lot. Or it's worth a try, because at least you need to try to get the most out of Scoot Henderson, try to maximize his potential. And I feel like, behind a guy like Anfernee Simons, who's a good player, however, you're not really winning with him, I feel like it just doesn't really make sense. And looking at Anfernee Simons' stats this year, he's averaging around 19 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. That's pretty good stats. I mean, he's not really like the star player you might have thought he was 2 years ago when he had that breakout season, but he's also just a really good player for this Portland Trailblazers. He's not a bad player, he's not a star, but he's kind of just in that range where he's like a really good player, and I feel like a lot of teams would want him. And honestly, I think the highlight for the Trailblazers this season is they're winning some games, but it's really Deni Avdija. He's been a beast for them. He's given them good stats, and he's put in some breakout games here and then. I feel like, maybe focus around him, focus around Donovan Clingan. You drafted him last year, and you're playing him behind Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton. So you need to figure out what you're going to do with those two guys. And I feel like, just give Scoot Henderson a try. Let him have the reins of the team. I mean, at least for 1 year. I know I said this earlier in the video, but at least for 1 year, give, Scoot Henderson a chance. Because Scoot Henderson has shown some flashes, and he also has shown some flashes of him being not so good. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier multiple times, he's the 3rd overall pick for a reason. Give him a chance to just, have the reins of the team. Him and Deni Avdija, maybe Clingan, maybe see what you can work with that from there. And what got me thinking about this trade idea with Anfernee Simons is a tweet from NBA Central saying the Miami Heat are a potential landing spot for Anfernee Simons this offseason. And the quote reads, "The young guard is the main trade asset to keep an eye on in Portland. There has been plenty of chatter linking Simons to the Orlando Magic since he is from Florida and attended IMG Academy, which is south of the Tampa area. Another team discussed as a potential landing spot for Simons is the Miami Heat," sources said. And this is very interesting to me because, it seems like both those teams are actually not too bad of a fit for Simons. And I'll get started with the Heat, as they have a lot of expiring contracts. They have Terry Rozier, they have Duncan Robinson. They have a lot of guys that could trade, and then maybe another draft pick. I know the Heat don't have that many draft picks, but maybe just one will get it done, in my opinion. And feeling like another scoring option next to Tyler Hero could be important. I mean, they have Bam Adebayo, they have Kelly Ware. They could build a little solid, not like really young core, because those guys aren't young, but they're kind of just like middle-aged, middle-20s type of guys, and I feel like they could kind of build up from there. So I actually like the Heat a lot. But in the quote that I read earlier, I actually like the Magic more. And they obviously have some guys like, Cole Anthony they can maybe give up. You have Mo Wagner you can maybe give up. I know it's going to hurt the Franz Wagner-Mo Wagner connection, but you could also give up Mo Wagner, which makes sense. You also have KCP, who signed last year, and I feel like he's a big contract that you could throw in that deal. Maybe another 1st-round pick. Maybe. I don't know what Simons' specific value is worth, but I mean, I could see him going for a 1st-round pick. And honestly, I actually like that a lot because you have guys like Suggs. You have guys like Franz Wagner, who's a tall forward type of guard guy. You have Paulo, who's a tall wing big, who's a good defender. You have Wendell Carter, who's a good defender. I feel like, adding those guys around Simons could really maximize his potential because his offensive game is so good, but his defensive game is not the best. So having those defensive guys around him could, make him be his best self and make the team even better, because the Magic are kind of, falling below what they were doing last season. Like, their expectations were not really met from last season, and I feel like, adding an Anfernee Simons in the offseason could be huge for them. And Simons is going to be making around $27 million next year, which is not too much, but it's also not like low. So, I feel like, with those guys I just mentioned, for the Heat, you could throw in Terry Rozier or Duncan Robinson. For the Magic, you throw in KCP, Mo Wagner. Any of those options would work for both teams. And you maybe throw in some draft capital or a young guy. I feel like, the trade could really happen for Simons. And also, if it doesn't work out, I mean, he's on an expiring deal. He's going to be 1 year left on his contract. So, if it doesn't work out, you let him walk in free agency. You don't really give up that much either for him. So, I don't know, man. I feel like those both options are really good. And let me know down below if you think there's another team that Simons would fit well on, because I just feel like next year in Portland, he just shouldn't be there. I feel like Portland should maximize whatever, draft capital, whatever assets you can get from Simons, because I feel like there's a chance he could walk in free agency. And also from a Portland GM, point of view, I feel like he doesn't really fit your timeline, like I said before. Let Scoot Henderson shine. Let him get all the minutes. Let him, try to prove what he's worth. And I know you Portland fans might be sad because he's the last guy in that 2019 squad, that team with Dame, CJ, Nurkic, all those guys. But all good things come to an end. I feel like this could be a good move for both teams, the teams that are going to get Simons and Portland. I feel like you guys can get, a mutually beneficial, type of deal here. But, let me in the comments what you guys think. Maybe you guys have different perspectives on this. Like the video, like I always say. Subscribe, do that stuff. But yeah, I'm going to read the comments, and yeah, I'm out.